If you like to make your NFL games a little bit more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Betting Podcast. We are presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. And it is schedule release week in the NFL. We record this always on Tuesday mornings. The NFL schedule, by the way, single games are getting released like every few hours. We're going to dive into that momentarily. But the entire schedule will be released Wednesday night. So what does that mean? That means Steve and I are going to spend a decent amount of time today not only talking about who we like and what bets we would consider making for the already leaked games, but also how you should treat the NFL schedule being released. The different strategies, the different ways you can go about betting and taking action immediately before the lines move. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman. Love those of you that check me out on social media at Ross Tucker NFL or the show, the network at Ross Tucker Pod. A lot of people like to watch the show on YouTube, which is cool. YouTube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Make sure you subscribe and then turn the notifications on, or the alerts or whatever they call it, so you know when the show has been posted. The star of this show is my guy, Steve Fezzik. Huge fan, the only two-time winner of the Super Contest at the Westgate. Long time, 20-plus years professional bettor. This is how he makes his living. We will talk about some of the NHL and NBA stuff a little bit later. I know Steve hates betting on horse racing because it's almost impossible to win, but I'm going to force him to answer at least one question on the Preakness. And I will say this programming note. Not only is this a must listen to or watch episode, but next week. Next week we will have the great Warren Sharp, and he will go over some of the schedule discrepancies that we need to know about for both season win totals and for individual games, which those of you that are longtime listeners or viewers, you know that Steve was attacking different individual games all offseason last year. So I guess let's start with this, Steve, okay? That there have been a number of games released. Heck, we already know 4 official Philadelphia Eagles games. There will be more. They'll probably have another 2 that get announced while we're doing the show. There will definitely be more released today and then tomorrow morning. And then, of course, Wednesday night is the full schedule release. I just want to take a 30,000-foot view, Steve. As these games are getting released yesterday and today and tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow night, give me a checklist, right? There are people that love to bet the NFL. Now, as you know, there are some people that they're just going to wait till the Sunday when the games are, or they're going to wait till the week of when the games are. They're not going to get on it now. But the people that really take it seriously, like you, the people that really want to win, what is your plan of attack? What are the options available to us over the next 48 hours?
So boom, a game gets released. Example, your Eagles are hosting Dallas. Interesting information, but I knew the Eagles would be hosting Dallas, so that's not going to change anything on season wins. But how about betting individual games? So because it's the very first game that's put out there, boom, some sports books put up a line on that game immediately, and the Eagles got installed as anywhere from a 6.5 to a 7-point favorite. I look at my power ratings. By the way, Ross, I haven't given these out, but the Eagles, 6.5 points better than an average team. Dallas, 0.5 point worse than an average team. Do the difference. That means that spread should be 7 on a neutral site. Not neutral. Games in Philadelphia. That means if I can lay 6.5 and I make the game more like 8.5 with a 1.5 home field advantage, I'm going to do it every time. That was the first bet I made in the NFL season. Your Eagles minus the 6.5.
Wow. I love it. So you already have the power rankings, Steve.
Well, to be fair, I have my power ratings, but I have lacked the acumen to be able to go through the the draft, the free agency, etc., on how these teams are getting better or worse. So I use the season win number as a proxy for what I'm going to approximate the power ratings at. So by example, the Eagles are supposed to win 11 games, a little more than 11. Dallas, just under 8 games. So I know Dallas, if they're going to win just under 8 games, they're a slightly below average team. I think they'll be a little bit better than the market thinks, but I still cannot make them a 0 in my power ratings. They've got to be less than 0, thus the -0.5.
Interesting. Okay. Boy, there's a lot there. So you went right to a specific game. I guess I want to take even a step back beyond that. When the schedule is released tomorrow night, we'll know all the games. But then we'll also have people like our guy Warren Sharp, who will be on the show next week, that he'll talk about teams that really have rest disparity disadvantages, some of the different statistics and metrics that he tracks. So really, Steve, we can begin to obviously bet week 1. We can bet season win totals. Which one do you think is more likely to be impacted by what comes out? Which one should people take a look at initially, right? Because they're both going to be impacted. Because when Warren Sharp comes out, or we see these, oh my gosh, this team only has 4 days rest. This team's coming off a bye. That's like an 11-day difference, right? How much does that affect the season win total for that team if they have a huge net rest disadvantage? And how much of it is more just, let's bet these individual games? Because we can do both, right? And you might do both.
Yeah, two different animals. And to be honest, I bet a lot more NFL week 1 than I do games of the year like week 9, just because, time value of money. Week 1, the games kick off and I get my money back. If I do nothing but bet weeks 11 and 14 and 16, inevitably I'm basically all in with so many different bets. Any game of the year, Ross, like I bet the Eagles -6.5. I think it's a good bet. I think it's like a 57% bet at -6.5. But the season win bets, if you do your homework correctly and the schedule lines up correctly with the rest advantages and disadvantages and you're ahead of it, you can get much bigger edges than any one game. Because let's face it, in any one game, the Bengals lost to New England week 1 to start the season. All right. So, there's just variance that, absolutely that's going to associate any individual bet. So I personally like the season win bets better. I'm going to give you a primer right now. If you follow this advice, you will win betting season wins the rest of your life. All right. There's a bias in the season win market. All the numbers are slightly too high. The reason being people want to bet on their teams, not against them. So if you look at the average season win number, if you aggregate it once they're out, they're not out, obviously. They're out right now, but they'll move. They'll start moving slightly. But the average is going to be slightly more than 8.5. It's going to be 8.6 will be the average wins. But it makes sense, 17-game schedule. But you can have ties. Every year you're going to expect to have 1 or 2 ties. So the average really should be like 8.4. That sounds like a trivial difference. It's not. So you want to look to play selective teams unders. You want to play a lot more unders than overs. And you know what? I think you can make the case just play nothing but unders. Also, the AFC gets 9 home games, other than the teams that host international games. So there's 7 AFC teams that have an international game. They lose a home game. But the NFC, every NFC team has 9 road games and only 8 home games. So disadvantage for the NFC. That won't be baked into all these strength of schedule numbers. That's a disadvantage. So I already said I like playing unders. The NFC is screwed because they only get 8 home games. And so because of that, NFC teams under would be absolutely the way that I would look to go. Health. Who was really healthy last year? I'll use an example. Spoke with Dr. Chow's people over at SIC Picks. Atlanta was a very healthy team last year. Well, Atlanta's an NFC team, so they only have 8 home games. So they would be an example of a team that would be right in my bullseye of a team that I'd be looking to play their season win under.
Boy, there's a lot there that you just said. I mean, the one thing I would say is that's an interesting choice on Atlanta being the team that was really healthy, because I don't really think their starting quarterback was. Like, it's great that they had all the other guys, or a lot of the other guys stayed healthy, but pretty clearly Kirk Cousins wasn't. And he's their quarterback, and I think it affected his performance greatly. You would expect a young kid like Penix to have a better chance to be healthy, but I guess we'll ultimately see. That's a good point on NFC unders. My question, I guess, Steve, is how quickly do the season win total lines move? Are there other people putting out the rest disparity, rest advantage, disadvantage stuff than Warren? Or is it basically we all wait with bated breath for Warren to post that and then fire on the ones that have huge advantages and the ones that have huge disadvantages? I guess I'm just wondering, like, when should our viewers, we're trying to help these people, right? When should they try to calculate themselves, or should they just realize I got to have notifications on from Warren. I got to see when he spits out his spreadsheet, and then bam, I pounce.
Yeah, so all of the above and none of the above. Good news, though, across the board. Ross, everybody's betting the NBA. They're betting NHL. They're betting the Preakness. They don't want to tie up their money. So you can do all this work yourself, or you can wait for the first person, which will come to market before Warren, or you can wait till Warren. These numbers aren't going to move because people don't want to tie up their money all year long yet, and they're not even looking at it. The public isn't looking at it. So my experience is, although all these season win numbers should move immediately, they don't, and you'll have plenty of time to sit back, and if you want to bet this stuff early in June, you'll be fine.
Ooh, okay. That's interesting. That's not what I was expecting you to say. It is schedule release week in the NFL. What does that mean? It's the perfect time for you to book hotel rooms, for you to figure out what games you're going to go to with your buddies. The good news is you don't have to figure out what you're going to drink. You're going to drink Smirnoff. It's the world's #1 vodka. It's an official vodka partner of the NFL and this show, which I greatly appreciate. That tells you how smart the people are at Smirnoff that they sponsor this show. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer. Here's the key. Head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please not share with anyone under legal drinking age. Okay, let's talk then about individual games, Steve. There are a bunch that have been announced. I said earlier there will be more and more, but we know 4 of the Eagles games already, which is crazy. The opening game, you referenced it, Cowboys at Eagles. Week 13, Steve, Black Friday, that's the Bears at the Eagles. Week 16, we know the Fox Saturday doubleheader, Eagles at Commanders, Packers at Bears. Week 17, Christmas, we know the Broncos will play at the Chiefs. We also now know week 11, the Eagles will play on the road at Lambeau. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 6 confirmed games. Do any of those other games jump out to you?
Well, it all depends upon what the spreads associated with those games are. I already gave you my Eagles power rating, 6.5. So you can use that on each one of these games. Now, you look at a team like the Bears. Bears probably should be either an average team or a 0.5. Oh, maybe I'll give them a 0.5, right? So I got the Eagles 6 points better, and they're home. So if the Eagles are home in that game, then they should be laying 7 in that game. So I make my number. I look at the number that's actually put out there. If I got a differential of a game of a point or more, I consider making a bet.
I haven't even looked. I'll pull it up on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, where, by the way, you should always use the code Ross while we're talking just to see if they have any of these other games up yet. I wonder how they're doing it. Wow, they got preseason games up. That they must have just announced that, but they've got a Chargers line. Oh, that's the is that the Hall of Fame game?
Yeah, the Hall of
Chargers,
Fame game
Lions?
does get some movement. Something, the funny thing, a Hall of Fame game, the total is the easiest thing in the world to handicap because the total should be like 31.5 like every year. So if they deal, the odds makers deal it higher than that, I look under, and once it goes below 31, I'd look over.
Steve, they already have. I love DraftKings, man. Please use the code Ross. They already have prop bets up for that opening night game between the Eagles and Cowboys. You can get Jalen Hurts passing yards, Dak Prescott, and then they have the Eagles as 1.5 point favorites on the road at Green Bay in that Monday nighter that just got released, week 11. They have, you called it, Steve. They have the Eagles as 7-point home favorites against the Bears. Did you know that, or you just did it off the top of your head?
No, I didn't. I did not know that. I just woke up, so I'm sure that got put up in the middle of the night. But here's the thing, and it drives me crazy as a professional bettor. And I'll throw the mainstream media under the bus here. They go through all these NBA games, and they're like, people are like, I like Indiana, I like Oklahoma City, I like the Knicks, and I like Minnesota. Like, no, the line is right 80% of the time. All right. So to like 4 games when there's 4 games being played is like so unlikely as someone's basically just saying they're a content provider. So the vast majority of these NFL lines will indeed be correct.
They have, interestingly, Eagles, Commanders. Eagles are 1.5 point favorites there. So what they're telling you is that they have the Packers and the Commanders rated the same, Steve, because both of those away games, they have the Eagles as 1.5 point favorites. So they're basically saying right now they have the Commanders and the Packers rated the same. Is that how you have it, Steve? I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, it's in the neighborhood, but Green Bay's better than Washington. Would you concur with me?
I would think so, yes. But I know, people, how the season ends means a lot. They got that Packers-Bears game up. Packers favored by 1.5. And they got the Chiefs favored by 4.5 over the Broncos on Christmas right now. Gosh, this is awesome. Talking about real games and betting lines, and I love that they have the Lions-Chargers preseason game up right now. By the way, I think I saw it. One of them was favored by 1. Yeah, the Lions are favored by 1 in the Hall of Fame game. You know what they should do, Steve? They should, the government should get a notice for everyone that's already placed a bet on that Hall of Fame Lions-Chargers game. We might need to go to their house and have a conversation.
I'm glad you brought this up because I got to say this. I've been hearing nothing but responsible gambling, right? There's these initiatives, and responsible gambling is always defined as being, bet within your means, don't lose too much, don't spend time away from your family gambling. And here's the one thing that it absolutely infuriates me. Never in any of the literature does it ever say, know the house edge and look to play games with the smallest house edge. So, when it comes to the casino, don't play slot machines. Don't play where the house edge is 8%. Play craps where you take your 2 times odds and the house edge is 0.6%. It would be like someone who drinks. You know what? It's a lot more responsible to drink when it's $3 per beer than $30 per beer. Literally, you're paying 10 times as much for some of the casino gambling games. No one would play 6-5 blackjack. That's a short pay blackjack game. The house edge on that's 2%. A 000 roulette or a slot machine, the house edge is 4 times higher than that ultra sucker game of 6-5 blackjack.
Wow. Love it. Okay. Last thing on the NFL stuff, Steve, is like, so when these games come out, the individual games, like week one, how quickly do those lines move? Because I know you've talked to me other years. You say, yeah, week one's already been chewed up. I can't remember when you say that, but that happens.
It all depends. And where it really depends, it's not so much the individual bettors, but like I have a service, pregame.com, and I give out plays. And if I give out a play to my subscribers, they're all going to bet it, and that line is surely going to move. So I wait a long enough time. Once enough sports books put it up, I will not only bet it, but I'll recommend it to my clients, and that certainly is going to move the number.
I love when the NFL schedule gets released. It's like you're planning when you're going to drink Labatt Blue and drink beer. You now know, Bills fans especially, but all of you, when you can do it, and then go to the website, snap a photo of your receipt, upload it instantly to rack up points for exclusive merch. I already got the incredible fridge. The next thing, I need to get that bag. I need to get the cooler bag. It's buy beer, get gear. Go to rewards.labattusa.com to sign up. Okay, the Preakness is Saturday. People like to bet in the Triple Crown horse racing. I know you hate it, Steve, but if someone is going to bet, they're going to bet on the horse racing. They want to bet horse racing. They want to have some action on Saturday. What is their best way to bet it? What's the one you're just talking about, the house edge? What's the most efficient way to bet horses?
I'm going to give you two ways. So one, I'm going to go ahead. This is what I've done for years. Look for matchups, horse versus horse. Try to find a horse that you feel is undervalued, one that's overvalued, that is matched which horse is going to do better in the race, and go ahead and wager on that. However, if you want to have a little fun action, I got to have a shout out to, he's over at the VSiN, Vegas Sports and Information Network, Mike Somich. He picked the Kentucky Derby Superfecta. He got all four horses, Ross. I think it paid 1,600 to 1. So if ever there's a guy whose power rating I have raised on his horse rating competency, it would be Mr. Mike Somich, and I would look to follow him.
Got it. Okay, two pieces of advice. Shout out Somich. All right, what about NBA or NHL, Steve? We got a couple minutes left. It's been interesting. You're not exactly great calls by you last week. What'd you have? The Celtics? You wanted to stick with the Celtics? You wanted to stick with the Cavs? It's not looking great, Steve.
Oh, I'm gonna lose a ton of money. And I'm not alone there. I gave out the Celtics when they were minus 320 after they were down 0-1 to my clients, and that's the only series bet I gave out to my clients. Thank God. But I can tell you, pros make money in the NBA playoffs. It's so rare that there's an upset in the NBA playoffs. And look at what has transpired. There's no lock Oklahoma City is going to advance, but they should. But Cleveland was minus 500. Boston was minus 650 in the series. Both of them very likely to lose. And I got to tell you, if you looked at the opening numbers, the pros pounded Cleveland and they pounded Boston. And now both teams are injured and both teams are up against it, down 3-1. So this has been as big as an aberration as I've ever seen in the NBA. I actually, Ross, I'll say it, I'm going to lose a lot of money, but I'm going to come out really well because I bet all these MLB season win numbers. And so I've been betting so much on that. I said to myself, I got to pump the brakes a little bit on all this money I'm putting out there on everything. So I'm still going to get killed, but I'm losing far less than what I would have normally lost had I just had the stacks and stacks of money sitting around the house to go blow on Cleveland and Boston.
Got it. So because you've been more active in the baseball season win market, you have been able to weather the, not put as much down on the NBA.
That and almost all my MLB bets are doing great. I hate to post them, but we spoke about that. There's some historically bad MLB teams. Colorado, their season win number to start the year, Ross, was 60. Think about this, 60. They're going to win 42 games this year. that ticket is already won, and it's May 13th, basically.
By the time we talk next week, next Tuesday, with Warren Sharp, and we go over his schedule analysis, how many NFL bets do you think you'll make?
Probably 20, over under 20 for season wins and games of the year.
I'm just curious, how many do you think are games of the year? How many do you think are season wins?
Probably 14 games of the year and 6 season wins.
Interesting. Gosh, you'll make that many. Okay, well, make sure you're writing them down because we want to talk about them next week, which will be absolutely awesome. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time for a question today, but there's more games being released by the second, Steve, and it feels like DraftKings is posting a line on them pretty quickly. So basically, if you already have your power ratings done, as soon as DraftKings posts the line like the opener, you can you're ready to go.
Oh, 100%. And remember, though, not 85% of the games, the line will be correct. But think how many games there are, Ross. So it's impossible for the odds maker to get it all right. And that's where we as a bettor have the advantage. We can pass when we don't like, the line on any one game and look for the select ones where we do.
You're missing out if you don't watch next week's episode with Warren Sharp or listen or whatever. He's at Fezzik Sports. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for tuning in to Even Money. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.